Come with me to Lewes, where we can go to Anne of Cleves. Lewes is in the south part of the UK. Anne of Cleves house is a very short walk from the Lewes train station. The walk is probably around like 7 minutes walk from. Anne of Cleves was the fourth wife of Henry VIII, and she was a German princess. I am in the bedroom chamber, and this is a traditional Tudor style house, and the bedroom is supposed to be one of the main rooms, and it is huge. Behind me is the bed, and apparently there's a notice here that says bedroom was actually known as the Great Chamber, and it was one of the main rooms of the house, and it was not just for sleeping in, but people use bedrooms as a private reception to have the guest come in, especially important guests. They would host people in the bedroom. So I'm going to show you around what it looks like. So this is the dining table and the servings, and seats like these which had arms in it. Unfortunately, all of these seats, they don't have arms, but the seats that have arms in it was actually used for important people, and well-to-do household would have used these chairs with arms for their main person as the master or important visitors. And this dining table is a small dining table. It's made out of oak, and it has a frame running between the legs. And most tables, they were simple, and they were supported by trestle tables, which you can easily move once you have finished using it. And this table was actually in inn called Star Inn, and now it is here, and you can see they used marks in the table as well. These are the Tudor style closet where people would keep their clothes and other important stuff. And this is the bed. So I was just walking around, and one of the members told me that this house, before it came to Anne of Cleves, it actually belonged to Cromwell before his head was chopped. So he used this house as a rental, and so did Anne of Cleves. She also used it as rental. And here is the decor. So this chair is really interesting because it is made out of oak, and apparently if you see, you can store things under this seat, and there's also this back side which, if you want to extend, it becomes a table. Talk about efficient use of table chair design. So there are different kinds of symbols that is used in Tudor times, and all these symbols have a meaning, and obviously this is for the kids to do some interactive learning. And here is the sheet that explains all the meanings of things. So I'm looking at the sheet that has the meaning of signs, and if there is oak, moon and sun, that means oak symbolizes wealth, strength and fertility. There is also pomegranate, which is actually adopted by Catherine of Aragon, the first wife of Henry VIII, and it symbolizes female fertility, and is opposite of the masculine oak. Marigold is also used in the Tudor times, and marigold was used by Queen of Mary Scots, who was the mother of King James, and medieval England, in the marigold actually is referred as for the marigold is actually referred for Virgin Mary. I'm trying to read and also say things. And the famous sign, the Tudor rose, was used by James I of England and Scotland, and it symbolizes the power and authority from the Tudor dynasty. And apparently the Tudor rose was positioned close to the head of whoever sat up and received visitors in bed. And another sign is the thistle, which is merging thistles and Tudor rose. It is commonly used to symbolize unity between Scotland and England. And thistle is used as a symbol for Scotland. And this last one, fleur de lis. Fleur de lis is stylized lily, and it was used as a French symbol and later got adopted for the English sign. And there's links between English and French crowns, and there are many references that we can see combined. So that was really interesting to know about different signs in Tudor era. Here is the oak. This is another sign. I think this is Marigold, the Queen of Scots. This is the famous Tudor sign. Yeah, those are the ones. So I am in the room called the parlor, and I learned something new. Parlor, actually the word originates from French word parler, which means to talk, and parlor room was actually for women, so that they could gather and talk, and they did all clean kind of work like needlework, sewing, spinning, all this clean work they did, and they would gather around doing those clean works and talk. So I'll show you the room. It's very, very cozy. So we are in the parlor. This is a day bed to take naps, and apparently the first day bed was recorded in the 16th century, and it was made for Countess of Shrewsbury in 1568 after she got married to the Earl. So it's just provided a space for resting and sleeping. And here is an oak cradle, woodcraft of this chair. It's so detailed. These are some of the carvings. We are headed to the kitchen and check out these carvings. They remind me of Nepal. And there is some art. I am now in the kitchen area, and this kitchen was actually made in the 16th century. So back then, kitchen would be made separate from the house because there would be a lot of fire risk. And it was only after invention of chimney that kitchens started becoming part of the house. And I was really surprised that this house had a kitchen in the basement side, and it's because there's a huge fireplace. And actually, when Anne of Cleves was living, the kitchen wasn't part of this house. It became part of this house much later, after it was renovated by other people. When Anne of Cleves was the owner of this house, this kitchen was separate, and the the house has a huge garden. There's kitchen garden, and the household of Anne of Cleves was independent. They grew their own crops and they used those crops for the food. They also would make malt, the drink malt, because the access to the river is close by. So that was really interesting to learn. And now I'll show you the kitchen. They had a chopping block to chop vegetables and stuff instead of a small chopping board that we have these days. And there's candles and all kinds of jars. They used butter scales to calculate how much butter they would need for cooking, and it was measured in pounds, ounces. And this is the table. So all these items and properties, it was not suitable for Anne of Cleves, someone of her status. So she rented them out, and people that lived here in Tudor and Stuart times were farmers and wool merchants. And it was wealthy people who owned large amounts of land, and they rented lands to other people. And this whole design, as you can see, is very practical and used for very practical, and we can see some of it even being useful now. And here they used mortar and pestle bowls to put herbs and spices to crush them. And here is the wash basin, and it's huge. This is where they handled meat and fish. So this is the garden area, and this is behind the house, and there are lots of flowers right now and some trees. And back during Anne of Cleves times, they would also have a vegetable garden to be a self-sufficient household.